In today's video, I'm going to be making Unbirthday Cake from the Disney Villains Cookbook. If you've watched Alice in Wonderland, the Unbirthday is something that happens at the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, where every day it's not your birthday, they celebrate your unbirthday. This cake isn't really themed to the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. This is themed to the Queen of Hearts, who's the villain in that movie. But this doesn't even really belong necessarily in a Disney-themed party. You could use it for that. But this could go for poker night, this could go for a Vegas vacation, anything that has that sort of playing card theme to it, you could use this for. At its core, it's just a good red velvet cake recipe with a dark chocolate chip crust, some fondant toppings, and these wonderful piped red roses across the top. So it's just fundamentally a good dessert on top of being very pretty. So let's go ahead and hop into the kitchen. I'm going to show you guys how to make this. We're going to begin by making a simple red velvet cake sponge. So I've got 3 large eggs, and to that I'm going to add a cup of buttermilk, as well as a cup of vegetable oil, and then we're going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla, but we'll just eyeball that, a nice helping of red food coloring, and a tablespoon of distilled white vinegar. And then we're just going to stir to combine all this together till we get a uniform mixture. Now we're going to add our dry ingredients. So I've got 2½ cups of sifted all-purpose flour. I've got 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. I have a teaspoon of salt as well as a teaspoon of baking soda. And then we're going to put a nice heaping tablespoon of natural cocoa powder in there. And we're just going to mix all this together until we get a nice smooth cake batter. You should end up with a nice thick velvety batter like this. And I've got 2 9-inch cake pans that I've lined and greased. And we're going to put half of this batter into each one. I've also preheated the oven to 350 degrees. So once we get these filled, we're going to tap them to get any air bubbles out. And then we're going to put this in the oven for about somewhere between 25 to 30 minutes or until they're just done all the way through. The cake layers are done, and I've turned them onto a cooling rack, and we're going to let these cool all the way back to room temperature before we ice them. We need to make some red roses for our unbirthday cake, and this is not easy. I'm not a pastry chef, and so I've had to learn on the fly here in order to do this. You can probably see some of these look better than others, and it's usually about how much practice I've had doing each one. And I will link the video that I learned how to do it on so that they get full credit for this. But essentially, we need to get a piece of parchment on a turner like this, and then get a piping bag with the attachment that's used for making sort of thin leaf-like textures. And we're gonna make a rose bud, just turning it underneath. And once you've got kind of a bud here, by just adding more and more layers with the top of your nib there pointed inwards, we're not gonna take that and actually get it more straight up. And once again, we're going to make more leaves, but this time with it pointed straight up, we're going to go up and down. And this motion is somewhat difficult to catch on camera, which is why, again, I'm going to link you the more instructional video that I learned from. But essentially, turning, you don't want to move this hand. You want to turn it underneath it, but you want to go up and down, up and down. As I complete each rose, I'm going to put it on this pan here and put it in the freezer so that we can safely move them to the top of our cake at the end. But you're going to need 12 of these roses in total. Now we're going to make a basic cream cheese icing. So I've got a pound of cream cheese as well as 2 sticks of butter, completely at room temperature, otherwise they will not mix and combine in an easy way that ends up with a smooth frosting. We're going to put about a teaspoon of clear vanilla in there. And now I'm just going to use the hand mixer to get these all mixed up. Now I've got 4 cups of confectioner's sugar, and I'm just going to add this a little bit at a time and mix between each addition until all of it is used up. You should end up with a nice smooth icing like this. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to ice our cake. I've cut the dome off of one of my cake layers here, and now I'm just going to use this knife here, and we're just going to spread a layer across the middle. Now I'm going to put the other layer on top, and I'm going to use the bottom as the top so that it makes it a nice flat surface to get an easier time getting a smooth icing on the outside of the cake. And then we're going to go ahead and proceed with icing the top and the sides of the cake. With the cake iced, I've now got some dark chocolate chips, and we're just going to take those in one hand, and we're just going to press those in to the sides of the cake. And it'll make a little bit of a mess, but go ahead and get those in until we get this nice crust of chocolate chips that go all along the sides of the cake. Now I've got some black and some red fondant that I'm going to roll out here. And I've got some playing card design cookie cutters. Also, beware of fondant, it will stain your hands. But obviously the 2 black suits, which are clubs and spades, they're going to go in black. And of course, diamonds and hearts for the Queen of Hearts will go red. Now we will place our playing card pieces, alternating suits. So black should be opposite black, and red should be opposite red. And the last thing we're going to do is take our frozen roses and just peel them off. And we're just going to put those around the edges as an extra little piece of decoration. And there we go. That is our Alice in Wonderland Unbirthday Cake. At its core, it's just a standard red velvet cake with a really pretty design, but the really pretty design is really the essence of what makes these recipes so fun to do. I love cookbooks like this. I'll probably be making more videos like this, so I hope you enjoy watching them, and I'll see you guys at the next time.